Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Do it. All right. So let's at least get to the transfer portal part. This will probably be the last day that that you'll hear any names come out, because the portal closed this week, but there's that 48-hour area, and that's pretty much about today. So Penn State yesterday, let's see, we found out King Mack put his name in. Golden Israel Achumba, David Kensey, who's a walk-on running back, a lot of quicks. London Montgomery, and I'm trying to think and Malik McLean. So those are the ones that went in yesterday. Look, very quickly, Golden has worked hard, but he's had a lot of injuries. And we all, everybody knows he can sing, which is great. But, but I actually feel like, we're talking about his own personal progress. He got, like this past year, I felt he got better, but he's not in a position on the depth chart where, even though he got better, where he's going to make a difference on the depth chart right now. He got better because he was finally healthy to do it. And all credit to him. Kensey is incredibly quick. I mean, really quick. I referred to him as the dart. And London Montgomery, he did some things last year I really liked in practice. But what really struck me is that in the winter program, I thought he would get a little more mass in the winter program, because he didn't get a chance to really go through the program last year because he was coming off the knee injury. Well, I thought he'd get more mass, and he didn't. There are a lot of things he does I like, but again, you're talking about a backfield that has Singleton, Allen, right? Cam Wallace, right? Quentin Martin. I mean, the best you can do at this point is 5. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe you can get to 3 if you really blow everybody's mind here. So you can get to 3. But right now, the best you can do is be 5. King Mack, of all, Malik, let's get to Malik McLean. Malik McLean has a lot of things you really like. He's got speed, size, but here's his big problem. His big problem here, and I brought this up, this is not unfamiliar territory at all. How many times when I've talked about a couple of the receivers, and he's one of them, I use the word consistency. That's been the problem he had here, was being consistent. He'd make a really terrific play one set, then he'd make another one, and you go, oh, come on. All right. And, you even saw that when he finally got into games last year. You saw it happen. He'd make a play. You're like, great. And also, I think it was the Illinois game. What did he have, 2 drops in that game? Yeah. Right? And then at that point, he had to kind of fight his way back to get himself into the lineup. He played on special teams. He plays hard. He just needs to be more consistent. And that's the element that's missing with him. King Mack's the one where of all of them, I sat back and went, oh, boy. And I don't know. I don't really know what the circumstances are, I couldn't even begin to guess. Of all of them, I was taking just like, really, King Mac. I was surprised. And what had, again, just because you're in doesn't mean you're in. You can't come back. Right. But more and more as time has gone, more guys that go in. We all know more guys that go in end up going someplace else. And I know I believe he's supposed to visit Alabama this weekend. But that's somebody talked about Penn State playing 3 safeties and so forth. Well, yes and no. All right. First of all, Dakari Nelson's still here. That helps. But it doesn't mean Penn State has a fair amount of corners right now. Harris, Kimber, Miller, Tracy, Washington, Mitchell, right? Shorter. They actually have a fair amount of actually very good corners. Well, it doesn't mean it what was Zakee Wheatley at one point? He was corner. Right? You can move guys around the secondary. That's, you can do that. But I don't know. That one was, of all the ones that have happened in this, King Mac's the one that surprised me. Now, I don't know whether the staff was surprised or not. I have no idea. But, yeah, those are the surprises, or the surprise. Everybody else kind of made sense to me. Like, okay, I can see it. Right? I can see it. Welcome to the portal. A portal giveth, and the portal taketh away.
Absolutely.
I've been begging for you to go in the portal, and you just won't. You won't do it.
I'll tell you, it's. I've thought.
I've been begging.
I've given strong thought.
Well, don't just Don't just
take the Kevin Costner approach. And rule number 1: don't think.
Just you should take the tact that they have at Nike. Just do it. Oh, come on, I'd be lost without you. So, meanwhile, Penn State lacrosse, men and women, how about that?
Yes, sir.
They're both in the finals. But Penn State gets a women's side, they get Northwestern. All right, and the men's side, Maryland has been one of those thorns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the years.
Should have beat them.
Oh, they were up 8-4 here. I'm watching that game. It was Easter night. It was a lousy night weather-wise. And Penn State's got them. And it's like, oh, you've got to be kidding me, really? And then to come back and do this, they went 19-9. 19-9. Wow. That's tremendous. And they're in the finals now against Michigan. I think that's at Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that feeling. Penn State and Michigan playing at Ohio State. Those people must be sitting going, oh. I don't want to. All these Penn State Michigan fans invading Columbus. Oh, boy. So. Oh, goodness gracious. But it's a great win for Jeff Tambroni's team. Just like Missy Doherty's great win for her team. I mean, this is one of the better years Missy's had, since their final 4 years. And same story, Jeff's team trying to get back once again. So there you go. Great wins. I mean, literally great wins for the lacrosse teams. I love lacrosse anyway. I love watching it. It's a great sport to watch. Always have. I mean, I go back to going to games at Jeffrey Field, for goodness sakes. And in women's lacrosse, I go back to when they were up on the Flower Garden fields, when they played up there. And to see them have success, I mean, that's even better. Even better to see them have success. So, that's where they are going into the weekend. Your team, the Sixers. Does anybody on that team know how to play the fourth quarter?
Maxie.
Barely. Maxie did not play.
Not play well last night.
He wasn't even close.
Not play well last night.
All right.
Yeah, did not play well last night, obviously. And I think half the problem with Embiid is he's tired. I think that is tired.
And he's hurt.
He's hurt. He's tired playing a lot of minutes, and he is hurt, absolutely.
Like,
and
hey, I gave him all the credit in the world for just getting himself out there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Tells you a lot about him.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to fight the knee problem. He's got Bell's palsy. I mean, you name it. So, look, I got it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely feel like they have a car waiting at the airport for Tobias Harris to get him out of Philadelphia. I think that is clear as day. There's no question about that. That's just sometimes a signing doesn't work out. It's the way sports goes. That signing didn't work out. That's not a max contract he wanted to have.
No. This league, though, makes so many max contract mistakes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if it's because they feel like they have to, like teams feel cornered in the max contracts, and so they do it. But I don't know. There's a lot of max contract mistakes in this league. There's also a lot of guys that are overvalued in this league. That's what strikes me about the NBA is how overvalued some of the players are in this league. So let's get into a guy, for example, that last night had an issue with the media and the fans. Somebody explain to me why Patrick Beverley is so valued. Why is he valued in this league? I don't understand. To me, he's just another guy.
Yeah. In his heyday, he was good defensively, but...
Yeah, but he's still just another guy in his heyday.
Yeah.
And yet he's made money left and right, and he's a key piece. We've got to get him. I'm like, got to get him. I said, are you kidding me? To me, he's just another guy. There's a lot of guys in this league. Like Tobias Harris, to me, was just another guy. I don't understand where the value for some of these guys comes from. The league, for whatever reason, puts value on some of these guys that baffles me. That's why I was glad to see a guy like Andre Iguodala years ago get the Finals MVP, because I felt he was actually perceived as being undervalued.
Yeah, absolutely. And his whole career, really. I think he was I'd be honest with you, I think he had a Hall of Fame career. I think when you look at the basketball Hall of Fame, I think defensively he was very good. He was a great player for the Sixers for many years. Obviously, extremely valuable to the Warriors in a lot of ways, and had some serviceable careers or serviceable seasons elsewhere. Yeah, I thought he played well with the Nuggets. So there's no doubt.
He's fine. Yeah, I agree with you. But there's too many guys in this league where I just sit back and go, really? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give you one. Okay. I talked about this the other day. Paul George. Okay. Is he just another guy?
No, he's a superstar, but he's not next level. He's not next level.
He's not a superstar.
I think he's an all-star.
Okay. He is halfway between just another guy and a star.
I think he's an all-star, but I wouldn't put him at the same level as the top 10 in the game.
Okay, give me 10 games where you sat back and go, oh, man, Paul George, whoa. What?
In Indiana, I could give you a couple, but with the Clippers, I couldn't.
I could give you a couple with Indiana, but a couple.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No.
I've looked at him. I've looked at Harden, right? I've looked at Westbrook.
Hard to score. I think they're one of the best scorers to play the game, but no, he's not a complete superstar. Westbrook, same thing. I think he's
the Lakers and Celtics are playing against each other in the 80s.
Yeah.
Which team does Paul George start for?
Not a one. Yeah.
Okay. Which team does Russell Westbrook start for?
Neither one.
Which team does James Harden start for?
No, then none of them are starting.
That's right.
Yeah, they're not starting on the Bulls.
No,
they're not starting.
They're not
starting over Ron Harper, and Harper. I'm not saying Ron Harper's a better player than them, but he fit a triangle offense better.
But Ron Harper fit what the Bulls were doing. You already had Jordan.
Offense. You already had Jordan. You already had Pippen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And you run two different triangles.
You added in Kukoc.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I saying these guys are better?
No.
But these guys can't. No. They wouldn't play for these teams.
No.
That tells you everything, right? And Paul George, you've got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. Now, when he's healthy, I'd love to have Kawhi Leonard. But the problem with Kawhi Leonard is he
just can't stay healthy.
He rarely is healthy enough.
Yeah.
He was terrific with San Antonio. He was terrific with Toronto. Right?
He's in the top 5 of best two-way players I've seen.
He's just a terrific player. Yeah. No getting around it.
I agree.
That's why I see he's out of the lineup, and I'll say to myself, well, they got big trouble. I mean, Paul George will have to step up. Again, he's not just another guy.
But he's not.
But I don't get why they say he's a star. I don't get it. I do a lot of basketball. I don't get it. He doesn't do anything to me that I sit back and go, whoa, okay. It's not like I haven't seen stars in my lifetime. Yeah. Like Jalen Brunson last night was a star. He's played like a star the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay? He did something last night where, 35 points, 11 assists, like in 3 straight games?
Yeah,
the only
points.
other one to do that is Oscar Robertson.
Yeah.
Last I heard, big time star.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
All right. I mean,
and Brunson, you look at to me,
Robertson did something.
Yeah.
Okay, that James Harden couldn't do.
Averaged a triple-double and played. Was a complete player.
Nope. Went from Cincinnati, where he was the show, from the Royals,
to
the Milwaukee Bucks, where they had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he shaped his game to win a championship.
Absolutely.
James Harden didn't shape his game in Philadelphia. Oscar Robertson did.
Didn't do it in Houston.
And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who played with Magic Johnson, has said Oscar Robertson's the best point guard he ever played with.
Big O to me is underappreciated, and when you're making people's lists, the top 10 to ever play the game, he's in there, and I still think he's underappreciated. Okay. For what he did for the game, I think he's just a complete player, and absolutely. And the other thing to me,
look, this game, the NBA is a lot of stars. Anthony Edwards is a star, right? But Karl Anthony Towns is in between star and just another player, yet he's perceived as a star.
Yep.
Why?
You're on the way. I think there's guys. I think they overvalue.
Why?
There's no question. They overpay players. They overvalue players. But I think the other thing is, to me, what separates a star too is how much better does this guy make that team. And Brunson's a prime example. The Knicks are a exponentially better team with that guy. There is no question about it. Not a shadow of a doubt. Mavericks. Without a shadow of a doubt, you take Luka off that team, they're not the same team. I don't care what Kyrie Irving does. He's not Luka.
I will say this: Kyrie Irving, to his credit, seems to have played pretty well in Dallas.
He's adjusted. He was terrible last year. He has adjusted this year in a big way.
I give him. Because Irving's been an easy target. He's rarely been a good teammate.
Yeah.
Right. No. But now it seems like in Dallas, he's, to his credit, he's done that.
One guy that is on his way. I'm not sure I put him there yet, but I think Tyrese Halliburton is underrated. I think the way he has played the game. What he's done in Indiana, what he did in Sacramento was exceptional. I thought they got rid of him way too quickly. And to get him into Indiana, I think he's absolutely fit incredibly well with that team.
I mean, Halliburton was, I believe, the breakout star of the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But there's certain guys, like I think Paolo Banchero's really good. I think Donovan Mitchell's really good. Right. There's only one LeBron. I mean, really, there is only one LeBron. I mean,
absolutely.
Nobody's supposed to be that big, that mobile,
physical.
absolutely. That every
built like a linebacker and runs like a wide receiver
and plays defense and is relentless. I mean, he doesn't take plays off. I mean, he's
one of the few guys, and Magic Johnson was another one, but one of the few guys that had an incredible amount of hype behind them, and he backed it up. Yeah, absolutely. Just backed every part of it. No. And this guy was hyped since he was 15 years old.
That's right.
And I think you could make the argument high school sports is on national television a lot more because of LeBron James.
In part.
Part because of everything.
Sure.
Social media now too, and everything else that you're able to do. But I think LeBron played a big role in that.
Yeah, in part. I don't think there's any doubt about that. We talked about the transfer portal out of the gate, and Ben talked a little bit about King Mac. We'll see how that ends up playing out. This NIL settlement, it's not NIL, the settlement on House versus the NCAA. This was an interesting story that came out yesterday with, I think ESPN had the story. There's two parts to it. There are past damages. These are for the athletes that were here from 2017 to 2021. And then there's the current number. Evidently, the NCAA has floated that they would pay the settlement money on the past ones, which would take the burden off current schools. The question's going to be, how do current schools pay current? Okay? This is not an NFL roster with 53 guys. Okay? You're talking about 800 student athletes. Okay? 85 of them are football players. 13 are men's basketball players. We've now covered all the revenue-producing sports. I mean, we've covered those who are in the black of revenue versus expenses. That's it. Who gets paid out of this? Look, if men's basketball players get money, women's basketball players are going to, because Title IX enters into this. So how's this going to work? Who knows? But coming up with a settlement is the one way they can avert this. Let's be honest about it. There are very few dramatically new ideas out there. I almost feel like this is the Truman Show. I want to be an explorer, and the teacher pulls down the map and says, everything's been discovered, because they're trying to keep them on the island, right? Everything's been discovered. There are very few new ideas. There may be innovations off of old ideas, but there are models that are out there. So right now in sports, what is the single most successful model? Oh, geez, I stumped you. I can't believe it. Every time I turn around, it's just unbelievable.
Single most successful model in terms of sports as a whole?
As a business.
Well, obviously the NFL.
Oh, geez, fine.
That's pretty easy.
I mean, the show's almost over now. It took you.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking format when you asked me first. I'm thinking, what is? Nothing successful because they keep adding to it.
Did you have coffee this morning?
Not. I don't think so.
Anything to eat? Something? I mean, because right now,
light had to come on there.
Light. I mean, my goodness. I mean, I felt like we're in a plane circling a fogged-in airport. What are we doing here? Yeah. All right. So the NFL as a business model. Right now, they are right in that $20 to $25 billion a year range.
Yeah.
And even though they'll have bumps in the road, and they'll have to fight through controversy because of it, they still continue to thrive and get more money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do they have as a TV model? Well, their TV model is everybody. Fox,
Anybody
ABC,
that wants it, any streaming service that wants it.
ABC, ESPN, CBS, NBC, Sunday Night Football, Amazon. Right? Who copied that model? Came close to copying it. The Big Ten.
Big Ten, yeah.
Do you want me to hold up flashcards for you?
No, I knew that.
You sure?
That was an easy one. Yeah.
You hesitate.
Yeah, they yeah. Well, you know, you can make the argument.
I'm not done like laying it all out. Okay. But they copied that model, so CBS, NBC, Fox, BTN
can all have a part.
All have a part. Yeah,
each streaming service.
There's a little bit of streaming with Paramount
Peacock,
Plus, a little Peacock, obviously. Which people.
There's no standalone streaming like the NFL does with Amazon.
That's right.
But yeah, there is spots,
which you may see with the NBA.
I think that's going to happen. I think
so. Now that brings us to the next part, because it's professionals, they have a collective bargaining agreement where they've been able to make sure that people got money and people were able to get money while also putting guardrails on it. Because you still have to be able to be a successful business. College sports is in an interesting spot because you have 4 power conferences, 5 for basketball because of the Big East, that really generate the revenue for everybody else. Those 5 power conferences are the money generators for everybody else. You don't have the TV contract without the 5 power conferences.
Right.
Same thing with the college football playoff. You don't have this without the Power 4 conferences. You don't really have this unless the SEC and the Big Ten say yes. Really. You're at a point now with NIL and collectives, along with a portal, that is screaming you need to have some guide rails. And that collective bargaining agreement that the NFL has, you can't just copy a chapter and verse, because you are talking about pros. And you're also talking about money, where all the money they put in is to either staff or to the players or, whatever. Okay. Here, you're Pat Kraft. All right. There's 800 athletes. Well, 702 aren't playing football or men's basketball. Ooh, that's 87% of your athletes. 88% of your athletes, 88% of your athletes are not playing football and basketball. Only 12% are. And those are the only 2 that are operating in the black financially, revenue versus expenses. So how are schools expected to handle this? And there has to be guidelines put in place. The only way you can do guidelines is not by self-imposing it. You have to sit down and actually negotiate with somebody about this. Now, who that organization happens to be? Well, UAB's athletes just voted to go to athletes.org.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I think something like that. Yeah.
All right. Is that there has to be an entity. Now, Trent Dilfer, their coach, encouraged them in this, but again, what's he a product of? He's a product of the NFL Players Association. Yep. All right, I got it. So he understands that. But we are at that point where it has to be talked about, because you're not going to get a situation. Let's talk ideology here for a moment. You're not going to get a situation where you go back and say, look, we offer scholarships. That's it. We're done. We offer you scholarships, room and board, books, food. That's what we offer. Take it or leave it. That's not happening anymore. unless you can do that, but you are no longer competing. You are now guaranteed to finish last in your conference every time. And you could have John Wooden as your basketball coach. Right? You could have Barrett Bryant or Joe Paterno as your football coach. You're not going to win games.
Yeah.
Because other people are. Look, the best talent is going to gravitate toward the money.
Right.
It's just natural. I mean, look at you.
That's right. Same with obviously Major League Baseball. That happens more often than not.
Right. They're going to gravitate toward the money. I mean, sure, Shohei Ohtani didn't have to move, but $700 million?
$700 million is going to help.
700 million reasons to go.
You're a pitcher coming from another league. Yeah. $300 million is going to help you get to that league quicker.
Exactly. I know the simplest solution is to have the government put the guidelines on. They're not going to do it now. We're in an election year. They are not going to do it. They're not going to touch it. I said that at the end of last year. I said, look, you're going into 2024. It's a presidential election year. They're not going to touch it. Right? But they're not good at that stuff either. Okay? They're not good at it. Right? But I always love when I hear this one. They have more important things to take care of. So, in other words, you're telling me they're incapable of doing more than one thing? It's like, excuse me. There's 365 days in a year. You can do multiple things. You are capable. If you have any confidence in people, they're capable of doing multiple things. There's 435 of them up there. You can come up with stuff. Right?
Absolutely.
There's only so many post offices they can sponsor. Okay? I always love that when you find out how many bills did you sponsor? 3 of them were post offices. 1 was something else. Right. You got people up there writing tax bills, things like that. You can do multiple things.
Sure.
I always love when they have more important things to do. Like over here in the back, what they can't like do something else too? Really? I mean, that's how low your confidence level is in them. All right. But they're not good at this. The reason they're not good at it is not because I'm insulting them.
Right.
Not in the least. It's not their area of expertise. All right? I want people that understand this part of it, right? That understand sports, understand college sports. Somebody else understands collective bargaining, something like that can come up with something that makes sense for everybody instead of going there. And I don't. Now, the one area where Congress could help, could really help, is give them an antitrust exemption.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
An antitrust exemption would mean a lot to the college model that we see today. It's because of that antitrust exemption, Major League Baseball has been able to keep a structure to what they're doing. Because the antitrust exemption, the NFL can do that. I mean, because you've violated the Sherman antitrust thing so many times. I mean, you're almost an expert on it.
That's and you have to wiggle your way through the lawsuits too. It takes some time. You can make them work.
I just wouldn't have admitted that on the air.
Well, a lot of places learn from Ticketmaster and
listen to all this.
A lot of other places learn from. It is.
Because I saw your name was Jason S. Lord. Does S stand for scam?
But it is very easy. Well, not very easy. It's very difficult to prove, but very easy to sue for antitrust.
That's right.
When you look at really
and
that's
right.
You're seeing places like Ticketmaster, as I said, Xfinity, another one. I think that these places are going to get the antitrust lawsuits. It's very difficult to prove something like that,
really
without question.
Yeah, it really is. But that, the NCAA would need that.
Yeah.
That's if the NCAA as an entity still exists.
Right. Absolutely. That's...
The bottom line is Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti are the two power brokers in all this. Charlie Baker is not, except I did point out, okay? I did point out that there's some stories out there, and ESPN's one of those putting it out, that, hey, like, because it's a two-part suit, that the NCAA might be the ones that take care of the past players. Oh, okay, if that happens, that at least takes some, I only said some, pressure off athletic directors.
Yeah.
But this is where we are now. It's a reality. The old, we're not going to put the toothpaste back in the tube, things like that. It's like, we hear that all the time. But yeah, that's what it is. It's not changing. It's not going to change. And since it's not going to change, how can I make this work for everybody? It's got to be able to work for the schools. It's got to be able to work for the athletes. And it's got to work in such a way that gives confidence to the fans. Let's not forget that part. As you know, I talk about that all the time.
Most important part.
All the time.
The part that gets ignored sometimes, but most important part.
I want that stadium filled. Mm-hmm. They wrestle in that stadium. I want it filled. Mm-hmm. Okay? They play football in that stadium. I want it filled. They put a concert in that stadium. I want it filled. I want it to be an exciting place to be. I want the Jordan Center to be filled. I want Rec Hall filled.
Absolutely.
Because the fans are in the end, okay, it's the product you put out there that gets them excited. Well, you've got to do all this in such a way that makes them excited. And stability is always one of those key elements that gets people attracted to sports. When there is discord, people turn away. Okay? When there are issues, outside issues, people turn away. And then when things get settled, right? Then people seem to get back into what's going on with sports and enjoy it. But when it's an unsettled situation, which right now college sports is in, it makes fans get unsettled. You don't need that right now, especially at this time. You don't need that.
Great.
Really, that may have been the best line you delivered all day.
I'll tell you. I think Monty from Major League had me beat.
What bothered me was in the hallway, you were practicing that line. Hey, I hope you have a great weekend.
Likewise.
Yeah, my good friend. We always have such a good time together. We always have a good time together. So, yep, back on Monday. I'm in here every day next week, but next week's a travel week. I've got Newcastle on Tuesday night, and then I'm going to Philadelphia for that
Philly,
NIL event on Thursday night. But it's all after this is over with. And I got notes from each one of them. How many restraining orders do you have out of you?
Right? Just out of that one in Philly last month. I'll tell you, it wasn't.
Just asking for friends.
Delaware shouldn't have any with me, not that I know of.
Yeah, but I'm not going there.
What was the first one you said there?
I'm going to Newcastle.
Newcastle.
In the western part of the state near Ohio.
Pennsylvania. I got you now.
I'm not going to Newcastle.
They might have a restraining order out there against me. It was out there recently. They might. Oh,
what am I associated with? You're the best.